Welcome back to the channel. I'm Angus from AngusDriving.co.uk. Got another test route to have a look at with a selection of roads. So we'll get into it and go through the sort of things that might pop up on the day of your test, which should hopefully help get you fully prepared for sitting your test and hopefully get you on the road. So you're joining us behind the driving test centre at the moment. I'm parked in the car park behind it. A great place to maybe start the test from. You can park here, you can park on the road out there. If you park on the road out there, sometimes what could happen is it might be all nice and quiet when you park the car, but when you go round and come back with the driving examiner, it could be that something's parked quite close in front of you. I'm sure you would still be able to deal with it, but it's maybe added stress that you don't sort of need. By parking in the car park around here, it should be that you've hopefully got a clear run pulling out. It is a wee bit bumpy, so you just go slowly, but yeah, it should be that there's no one blocking you. So we'll get the car started up, we'll get into it, we're going to do another route that they might do in the test, run through it, try and sort of add in all the sort of common mistakes people make, and see if you can follow it. And of course, if you have any questions, then make sure you add them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. If you do enjoy the video, if you like and subscribe, that would also help because it helps with the sort of growth of the channel and stuff. So yeah, let's get the car started up and let's get into it. So, I'm going to leave the car park here and I'm going to turn to the right. Now there's no lines as we leave the car park here, but we've got to make sure that we still stay to our side of the road as we leave it, okay? So I've got the car on, I'm into first gear, I'm going to get my feet ready with my accelerator and the biting point. I'm going to just quickly check both shoulders, just no one's sort of walking around, no one's driving in any of these other cars that are around me, and if it all looks good, I'm going to start to move slowly. Big pothole here, so I'm just going to try and go around to the left of it. I might go through it slightly, but as long as I'm going slowly, it should be fine. So to leave here, I'm going to turn to the right. So I'm going to do mirror, mirror, signal. I'm just staying to the left here. I know there's no lines. I'm just making sure that it's all clear. It can be a busy wee bit here with the shops. As I drive along here, I'm going to turn right at the end of the road. So again, I'm going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. I'm making sure I'm on my side of the road, which sounds strange, but sometimes when there's parked cars at the shop there, sometimes people stay on the wrong side of the road as they come up here. Because it's uphill, I've braked enough that I'm not going to go out, and now I'm doing acceleration and biting point just to stop the car from going backwards, having a look both ways, and it all looks okay. So off I go. So, as we drive along here, at the roundabout along here, I'm going to continue straight on, following the road ahead, second exit. So if you're going straight on at the roundabout, there would be no signal, and you would keep a left position unless road marking is set otherwise. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm coming in slowly in second, I'm looking, the roundabout looks nice and clear, so I'm going to stay on the outside of the circle as I go. And then once I've passed this exit here, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, and I'm just going to follow the curve as I tuck round. And I'm just sort of looking along here. There's parked cars on the other side of the road, so hopefully if someone was coming towards me, they should give way to me, but it doesn't look like anyone's coming towards me. So just cruising along, making sure I don't go over 20. So we've got a few things. We've got the speed bumps, which would indicate it's 20, and then there should be a 20 on every fourth lamppost, which you can see one on the right there, which would just help sort of make you realise it is a 20. As we drive along here, if you can find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop. So I'm going to do mirror, mirror, signal. I'm going to pull myself in, not blocking any driveways. I'm going to bring myself in over this driveway, but just drive past it, and I'm going to stop before the bus stop and before I get opposite that junction. So they're going to pull you up a number of times at the side of the road. What you're looking for is somewhere on the left that you could park the car for the day. So somewhere that's not blocking anyone's driveway on the left, not opposite a parked car making the road narrow, and don't be opposite a junction. You could be opposite a driveway, that's fine, because in some of these housing estates it's going to be quite difficult not to be opposite a driveway. But yeah, basically just on the left. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to leave here and we're going to drive to the end of the road. I'm going to turn to the right. We're then going to follow that road for about 1.5 miles to 2 miles, and then we're going to start to follow signs for Edinburgh. So let's give that a go. So you're going to get independent driving during your driving test, where rather than them directing you, they're going to give you possibly some directions like that to follow, or maybe they'll get you to follow the sat-nav. It's more likely that they'll get you to follow the sat-nav. I just find it a bit difficult to try and film the sat-nav while we're doing it, and make it all, and not be interrupted by the sat-nav when it starts to speak directions out. So we'll go with the following signs. So we're going to go along here, we're going to be turning right at the end. So I'm going to rejoin the road. So I'm clutched in into first. I'm going to check mirror, mirror, and my right shoulder. If it's all good, I'm happy, I'm going to pull away, so off I go. If I wasn't happy, don't pull away. But the main thing they're looking for there is you check over your right shoulder to that blind spot before you go. So I'm coming along, temporary traffic lights here for the roadworks. So I'm just going to check my mirror before I stop, and I'm going to stop just here. So, as I said, at the end we're going to turn to the right. Because this is all under control by the traffic lights, it should be, when I get to that junction, that it's red at the other end. So it should be okay for me just to pull away and come out of that junction. So, well, it should be that there's no one there. Of course I'll have a wee look at it go, but I shouldn't really need to completely stop or anything. So I'm going to do mirror signal. So as long as everyone's following the rules, this should be fine. So it all looks okay there. Quick glance there, all looks good. So I'm just coming round slowly and away I go. Now down here, yes, it's our right of way with all the parked cars being on the other side, but it's quite big clumps of parked cars, so you could well have somebody sort of halfway up and you might start to think, there's nowhere nice for me to meet them, and you might have to wait beside a wider bit to pass rather than just going in towards them and then thinking, oh no, I can't get past them. Because yeah, obviously it doesn't really matter whose right of way it is. If you can't get past each other, it's going to be a problem for both of you. So as it goes downhill here, we've got to make sure that we don't go over 20. Very, very easily done, because it is quite a sort of slope here. So I'm just staying in second gear in this car, just making sure it doesn't go over 20. And it's quite a tight corner here, so it goes tightly round to the left. To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to stay out towards the line, not going over the line, but I'm just staying a little bit off the curb to give myself room. And when the curb starts to go, I'm going to really follow around with it, and that's going to keep me tucked out the way. That'll just make it just a little bit not quite as sharp, because it is quite a sharp turn. At least because it is 20, you're going a little bit slower, so it's easier to get accurate. It goes into a 30 coming up, so as long as no one's overtaking me, checking my mirrors, I can start to accelerate gently up to 30, and then shortly after that you'll see this white circle with the black diagonal line, which would be national speed limit. So national speed limit for a car would be 60. Not necessarily going to do 60 along here, but if suitable, I'm going to start to accelerate. So the sort of speed you're looking for is a speed that you could smoothly stop within the distance you can see. So at the moment, if the traffic was queued up ahead, for whatever reason, I could stop. So at the moment I'm doing 45. Further up, the road really disappears over a rise. I'm going to check my interior mirror. I'm going to just lift off the accelerator in case there's a cyclist or a horse rider, or just the traffic could be queued up for whatever reason over here. All looks okay, and I'm going to accelerate again. So I just eased off the power, let the car fall down to a speed that if I had come over there and for whatever reason I needed to stop or queue up, I could easily do that. It's the same again here. I'll just repeat it, just checking the mirror, just lifting off just enough that I can see. All looks okay, so I'm going to just gently accelerate. As long as you drive these roads like this, that's all the examiner would be looking for, that you're safe, organised, and sort of not rushing into anything. It's disappearing again, checking the mirror. Because it's downhill, I'm going to brake just gently, just so I can sort of balance the speed. All looks good through here. Nobody's pulling out of that junction across me or anything, or going into it, so it all looks okay. And then as I look down here, it looks pretty good, so I'm accelerating smoothly, building that rhythm, just keeping the car going. Now along here at the end of the road, we're going to be turning to we're looking for Edinburgh, and it's going to be marked to the right, okay? Now there's a speed limit change where it goes back to 50, which I'll show you on the left. Currently it's behind the trees slightly, so I don't know if the examiner would tell you because it's a wee bit covered by the branches. So you'll maybe see, if you sort of look carefully on the left there, you'll see a sign that says 50. We're going to turn right, mirror signal, smooth braking as I come in, and then I'm taking my time with this junction. It's a busy road. And I'm looking both ways. There's a car coming here, so I'm just going to wait. And because it's quite a fast road, I'm making sure that I've got a big enough gap from traffic coming along from my left, because not only do I have to pull out in front of them, I also have to get up to speed. So all looks okay. So I'm going to start to accelerate smooth, and I'm going to really sort of quite efficiently build my speed back up to 50, so that if somebody arrives coming down the road behind me, I'm away, I'm up to speed. I'm not still sitting there at like, I don't know, 30 miles an hour with them approaching very quickly towards me. Road disappears again, so I'm just going to check my mirror. I'm just going to sort of ease off my power, just sort of letting the speed fall just to a speed that I could easily stop. I could easily stop within the distance I can see. I can now see through the corner. All looks okay, so I can gently press again, taking myself back up to 50 if suitable. And of course, if there was a cyclist or like just slower traffic, I would respond to what was happening with that. Further along the road here, the speed limit changes from 50 to 40. So just checking my mirror, easing off the power, and the speed's going to fall naturally. It's almost at 40, just give a tiny bit of brake in there, and that's me bang on 40. As we drive along here, the road splits into two lanes. We're still following for Edinburgh, and we're going to start by defaulting to the left. So you would stay in the left unless you had a reason not to be in the left. So So of course, if I saw signs saying that Edinburgh was a different direction, I would not be in the left if it was to the right. But yeah, I've not seen anything yet, so I'm staying on the left. Crossing looks good, no one's at it, so that's not going to change. I look at the sign at the top up there, Edinburgh is marked straight on, second exit. So I'm going to check my mirror, I'm going to start to brake. I've got a hedge here that's blocking my view. I can see a bus, I'm going to see what's going on. It all looks okay after the bus, so I'm going to drop down into second gear. I'm just going to stay to the left of the roundabout as I come round. Now, as I come round here for leaving, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. At the time of day at the moment, bus lanes are not in action, so I'm going to stay in the bus lane. So, depending on what time your driving test is, that will determine whether you're in the bus lane or not. So the bus lanes, most of them in Edinburgh, are in operation just during rush hour, so between 7:30 and 9:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock and 6:30 at night. So if you were doing your driving test at 8 o'clock in the morning, you would not drive in the bus lane. But if you're doing it at 10 o'clock, make sure you drive in it unless you have a reason. We're going to go for City Bypass North, which is left, first exit at the roundabout. Controlled by traffic lights, it's red at the moment. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, smooth braking, and when I queue up here, well, it's going green, so I'm going to be able to drop into second gear because I'm still moving. I'm just going to continue through. So, following round to the left here, staying with this curve, and I'm going to be heading down here. You can see it's a 50 miles an hour speed limit, so I can start to build some speed if it's suitable, and we're building up towards 50. Now, along here, the road just sort of keeps on, I'll show you as you go, but it keeps on sort of merging with, like lanes keep on merging together. It looks complicated, but it's not too bad. They could do with repainting this. We're continuing straight on. They wouldn't turn you down to the left there because that's down onto the motorway, and they're not going to take you down onto the motorway. So you're just making sure you don't go over 50. It's normally fairly quiet like this down here, so you just sort of cruise along. The trees have grown over the sign slightly there on the left. You'll see, if you sort of look at it there, it tells you that the lane beside you is going to merge into this lane. So you've got a clearer view of it there. So you see that's also going to come in. I'm just checking that no one's beside me. In this case, there's no one there, so there's no one to cause me any problems merging towards me. So, but if there was, I'd be aware of what they were doing. Further along, we're now driving side by side with the traffic that's come up from the M8, and further along here, you can see on the sign coming up, our lane's going to merge into that lane. So, checking the mirrors, the car in the background, I'm going to just sort of aim the car, have a quick glance round over my left. It all looks good. I'm just going to do a wee signal because there is a guy coming up just to show that I'm popping over. Further along, they could again do is repainting this bit along here. Our road drives side by side with the other one here, and then our lanes just come together, but they don't merge, so you don't have to sort of worry too much. Of course, be aware of what's happening. It might be worth having a wee glance to see what's happening beside you here, but it all looks okay. And along at the roundabout here, we're going to be turning to the right for city centre. Now, I believe the examiner is going to give you some guidance here because, of course, if it was to the right, you would naturally think I'll need the right lane. In this case, you do not need the right lane. The left lane splits into two, and you need the right of the two lanes here. So as you come up, you've got these big signboards that tells you that one in from the left is city centre, so I'm going right at the roundabout. I'm going to do mirror signal. It's green, the traffic light, so off I go following this lane. Now, there was a bit of debate whether you should signal or not here because it's the only place that the lane should go. You are turning right at the roundabout, and I asked an examiner the other day, and they said you could do either. So, yeah, I think it maybe depends almost on the examiner, but they said you are turning right at a roundabout, so signaling would be very wise. Coming off here, mirror signal that are coming off. This sign here shows you that the lane beside you merges into yours, so you're just double checking what's going on in regards to traffic beside you. All looks okay in this case, no one's coming up. So, continuing along here, our lane drives side by side with this road here. Again, just sort of checking what's going on, and I'm continuing straight on down here. At this time of day, bus lanes still allowed to drive in, and yeah, I'm continuing straight. Traffic lights are red, so I know they're going to slow me down, so I'm going to check my interior mirror, and I'm going to start to brake gently. When I stop here, I'm going to stop so I can still see the back wheels of this taxi touching the ground. What I could also see while I was sort of coming to a stop there ahead, further down the road, was a cyclist. So that cyclist may be in the bus lane as I go along here, and I might have to move out to go around them. It might be absolutely fine, the cyclist might have turned off or pulled in by the time I get along there, but I'm aware of that. So I'll start to sort of work out as I go. The taxi, well, because it's quite big, it's going to block my view slightly as to what's happening with the cyclist, but I should hopefully be able to gauge slightly by its movement. If it starts to make a move, I've got a feeling that it could be because of the cyclist, but we'll see. So as we drive along here, we're going to be going along here for about half a mile, and then we're going to be turning to the right. If you're following a sat-nav, yes, it might tell you to turn in right. Because it's half a mile, I would still stay in the left for a large percentage of it, unless you had like a reason in the left to move out. Sometimes when people see the sat-nav saying that they're turning right in half a mile, they start to move out very, very soon. And then, yeah, you're driving maybe for quite a while in the right lane. So off we go. And I can see 7:30 to 9:30, 4 o'clock to 6:30 on the bus line, so I'm allowed in it. The pedestrian crossing looks good, there's nobody at it, and I'm just cruising along, and it's 40 along here, so we'll see. See if I can find it on a lamppost to show you. I can't see it on end, there's one coming up on the left. So yeah, it's repeated on the lamppost saying it's 40. So I'm just sort of paying attention. I've got an alright gap with the taxi. The taxi's moving now. The taxi's moving because the bus is moving. So I'm going to do mirrors and signal, and then it's clear at the moment. I'm going to just glance around just to double check it's all good. What I could see is the car behind me. I could see the front of it in this interior mirror, and it was staying there steadily, so I could move out. There was enough room. Once I've cleared the bus, if it's all good further down on the left, I'm going to move back, which it is. So I'm just going to check my mirrors. If you signal, just pop back over into the left and just drive along. Now, next pedestrian crossing here, I'm looking to see if anyone's at either side, if anyone's going to be pushing the button. It looks clear on the left. The van's blocking my view on the right, so I'm easing off. Looks okay, it's not going to change. Further along, I can see the cyclist in the distance, and along there, we're going to be turning right at the roundabout. So with that information, we're going to make a move into the right lane, so we're set up for turning right at the roundabout. So mirror signal, I can see the front of the guy behind me in the mirror, so I can move over into this right lane, so I'm all set up. Now this roundabout bit can be hit or miss. Sometimes you come in and it's very busy, other times you sort of are lucky enough that one of the pedestrian crossings coming into it is red and you're on, no problem, but we'll see what happens. So we're going to turn right, third exit at this roundabout. The crossing looks good, no one's at it at this side, so we're going to do mirror signal to the right, and it also drops down into a 20. So I'm coming in slowly, and it actually looks pretty good today. So I'm looking to the right there, all looks good, so I'm going to go into second gear and continue on. Staying with the roundabout as I go round, and I'm going to leave in the left lane, okay? So mirror signal to the left, across to the left, as long as no one's beside me on the left there, which there shouldn't be. This pedestrian crossing looks good, and I'm making sure I don't go over 20. Now, further down here, in the distance at the traffic lights, we're going to be turning right, and we're going to go into Tesco, where we're going to go forwards into a space. So as it all starts to widen here, I'm going to check mirror, I'm going to start to move across to the line here. I'm going to get a wee bit closer, I'll maybe clear these sort of entrances here, and maybe somewhere here, I'm going to do my signal to the right to say that I'm going to be turning right. I'm then coming in this right lane, going up, stopping before the cycle box. So I'm going to be doing smooth braking, and then it's going to be clutch down, and then yeah, just stopping just before the cycle box here. Okay, so when this goes green, depending on what I get, I may be able to go, I might not. So I go forwards, I've got a green arrow pointing to the right, so I'm good just to turn to the right. Once I turn in here, there's going to be a small roundabout, I'm going to turn right at the roundabout, so I'm going to maintain a right position here, and it's going to be right second exit to take me into the car park. So I'm going to do mirror signal, just coming in slowly, looking to the right here, all looks good, mirror signal. Now there's a zebra crossing here, pedestrian crossing, just got to check no one's sort of coming in from the side, all looks good. Now it looks quite empty in here today, I'm just going to sort of follow round, and you're going to say choose a space of your choice, go forwards into it and park. Now, very tempting to do these spaces on the right here. I would avoid them, they are normally quite empty, but if you went into them, when you come to reverse, you're going to be reversing out onto this main road with the junctions behind you. So I'm going to go down this road here, so I'm going to do mirrors and signal, say I'm turning down here, and I'm just going to sort of follow around. There's nothing wrong with doing those spaces there, it's just that when you come to reverse out, there's going to be a lot more going on compared to maybe if you came to one of these quieter bits. So you're allowed to choose a space on the left or the right. Because we're on a two-way road and I'm sitting on the left, spaces on the right are going to be a lot easier to turn into. So I'm going to choose one of these, so I'm just sort of going along and then sort of, yeah, looking at the space I'm going to go into, turning myself in, coming round slowly, and then I'm just going to go in and then just stop before I go into the next space ahead. So I think I'm happy with that. Looking ahead at the sort of space in front of me, it looks okay, and when I lean forwards and look in my mirror here, I can see the line beside me at the back corner there, so I'm quite happy that I'm in the space. If you were unhappy, say you thought, oh no, I don't think I'm in the space properly, you can just reverse and go forwards to fix it. So yeah, the key thing would be is to make sure you're looking and make sure you go far enough back. So what I'll do, just to give you an example, is I'm going to reverse back and I'm going to change from this space to the space beside me and show you how you would do it. Now, it would never be as extreme as that because hopefully you would never be 100% wrong, But yeah, this will give you an idea of how you would do it. So if I was unhappy, if I thought, oh no, I'm not in the space, I go clutch in into reverse. Now before I go backwards, I'd make sure I look over both shoulders, okay? That's the key thing with the manoeuvre, all about the checks, right? So I'm going to check both shoulders, nothing's happening on my right here, and then looking right through the middle of the car, all looks good. So I'm going to reverse back, I'm just going to reverse back, keeping the wheels straight, just checking shoulders regularly as I go. If anybody was driving or walking, I would stop. I'm going to go all the way back to the spaces behind me, but not into them. So all the way back to them, so that's me all the way back to them now, but not into them. And I'm going to transfer into the space on the right. Now when I go forwards, I'm going to think about putting the centre of the car into the centre of the space, okay? So I'm in first gear, I'm going to go very slow with the car and massive steering with the steering wheel, okay? So nobody's driving or walking. As I go, I'm going to do massive steering this way, and I'm going to keep going this way until I feel like the centre of this car is in line with the centre of this space. So keep going, that's it into the centre of the space now, and then I'm going to do massive steering to the left. That'll flick me around and bring me into this space, and then once I'm round, I'm going to go straight, and then I'm nice and neatly in this space. That would be me. Now it would never be as wrong as that, but that would be the way to fix it, because you wouldn't have to go quite as far. But think about putting the centre of the car into the centre of the space, like rather than putting the front of the car into the centre of the space. And that would then that will mean that you take the car far enough over, because the back wheels don't steer, it'll take it far enough over that you will manage to get the back into the space as well. Okay, so finished it, happy, done two there. The examiner would now say, right, that's great. When you're ready, leave the space, leave the car park. So having a quick glance here, looking at the road, I've got white lines going up and down the middle, so I could go either way. I think it's going to be easy to sort of reverse and just go back the way I came in. Also in this car park, that means I avoid the door of the supermarket, which could be busier, have more activity, and there's often like zebra crossings and stuff there, which can be tricky. So if I can avoid that, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm into reverse. Because I've chosen a space with nothing beside me, when I go, I can just do all my steering to the left, and that it doesn't matter about the front of my car swinging through this empty space. So I'm all set. I'm going to check both shoulders. Got a van driving down there, but that looks okay. I'm just going to give it one moment just to see where it goes, because it's sort of swinging around. I'll see where he goes. I think he's just going to go into space, but yeah, I'll just give him one moment. And he's parking there, that's fine, just in case he loops around behind me, and off I go. So all my steering to the left as I go, checking shoulders regularly as I go, and I'm just letting the car rotate round until I'm facing like where I'm going to be going, and then it all looks good. That's me round, so I'm just going straight to my wheels, clutch in and brake there, and that's me. And then off I go. So it's a quick glance, no one's driving, walking around me, and off I go. Okay. And then in regards to like speeds that you would drive through the car park, just go at a sensible speed. You're just making your way through. You're never going to be told, I'm going to turn right, so mirrors and signal. You're never going to be told, oh, you should have gone faster through the car park. They can be quite tricky car parks. We will have a lot of people who are, you know, coming and going from their cars, other vehicles reversing, manoeuvring around. So if you can just take your time, if anybody does anything that's not so good, you should have time to react to it, and sort of, you know, stopping shouldn't be too difficult. Further round here as we leave, I'm going to turn left at the roundabout first exit, then I'm going to turn right at the traffic lights. The zebra crossing looks okay, going to the mirror signal saying I'm going left, roundabout looks okay, so through I go, and I'm going to be turning right at the traffic lights here, so I'm going to go over to this right lane and then I'm going to signal to the right. So I'm coming up, I'm going to be stopping just before the cycle box, so yeah, just stopping here. And then yeah, sort of waiting to see what happens. Now this is all 20 still going along here. This road is, yeah, it seems to go on forever, this next road that we're going on to. It's a big, massive, long straight, and yeah, you just got to make sure you don't go over 20, which yeah, can feel extremely slow. But yeah, you just keep checking in on it, and yeah, that should, there's not too much that goes on. There's quite a lot of pedestrian crossings going along it, but if you're just cruising along at 20, you should have plenty of time to sort of look at them, decide if anyone's doing anything. So yeah, it can't be too long. So let's see, it's still green for those people over there. And yeah, like, yeah, hopefully that makes sense so far. You're going to do one manoeuvre during your driving test. They'll choose it at random, so it could be going forwards into a space like that, it could be pulling up on the right, or it could be parallel parking. So there we go, we're going green, so off we go. I'm just a wee glance from mirrors, check no cyclists or anything coming up to the side. All looks good ahead, no one's moving over there, so I'm going to continue round. And then you'll see the 20 sign continuing along here. They've also marked it on the roads. So we're just cruising along. Now during the test you're going to be asked a question about the car. You'll be asked two questions. You'll be asked a question before you begin and a question while you're driving. I've got them all on my website, sort of written out, and sort of hopefully like the question and the answer, which I can put a link in the video description below that you can have a look at, so you're prepared. The sort of things they might ask you while you're driving, they might get you to open and close your window, they might get you to spray your front windscreen to clean it with the windscreen washers, or spray the back window, or something like that. This is the sort of area that I can imagine would be perfect for them to do it. So you can imagine going along here, they might say, while you drive along here, could I get you to open your window? So whatever you're doing, whether you're opening your window, turning lights on, or something like that, it'd be a good idea to maybe aim the car before you do it, especially if you're looking down for something. So if you're sort of looking for the switch for the lights, what you want to do is like aim the car, and then you could reach for the switch and turn it. That would then mean that yeah, like while you have that brief moment while you're looking at something else, you know, like doing like you're distracted by that, you're not going to suddenly like go to the left or right and sort of weave off line. If you aimed the car and then looked and thought, oh, I can't find the lights, aim the car again and look again. So just take your time, like so just make sure you're not staring for too long. But definitely would be very highly recommended to be very familiar with the car that you're using for the driving test, so that you know where the lights are, the front demister, the rear demister, all these sorts of things are. Again, as I say, if you look at the link in the video below, link in the description for this video, I'll put the link to that area on my website, and you can read it and revise it so you're all ready for your driving test. And then hopefully these questions won't even be, they won't even seem like an effort to answer. Okay, let's follow some more signs. Yes, if you're following signs, it'll be over by now, but let's do some more just to sort of keep it going. I'm going to follow for Kilmarnock as we drive along here. So I'm doing well, I'm just sort of making sure I'm not going over 20. Further along, pedestrian crossing, there's nobody at it. I've got this big sign for the roundabouts. Kilmarnock is marked straight on at the roundabout, following the road ahead, second exit. So I'd expect the left position. I've got this cycle lane here, so I'm going to be tightening up to the left here, but I've got to check there's no cyclists or anything coming along it. So I'm checking mirror, mirror, just as I sort of draw into this left position and into this left lane. Looking at the roundabout, it looks okay. The cars that are on it are on the outside there, so they're not going to come round, so I'm staying on the left. And then once I come round here, I'm going to do mirror, mirror, signal to the left, and away I go. Now this is a 30, this road. It should have big signposts as you come in there. You've got one sign there, but yeah, it's not signposted as well as it should be. So yeah, like it'd be easy to continue at 20 there. What you would then see if you looked up this road is that there's no 20s on these lampposts going up. So if this was a 20, it would still have small 20s on each lamppost. The pedestrian crossing is clear, there's nobody at either side, so that's not going to change. Still following for Kilmarnock. Now shortly I'm going to see on the sign coming up where it is. I can see on this first signboard that Kilmarnock is marked to the right and it's the third exit. Now I've got to be careful that I don't signal too early with this junction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I'm in the middle of it or past it before I signal. So as I get closer, I'm going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. Now make sure you properly widen across to this line to get the position perfect as you come in here. Now I'm coming in slowly, looking to the right. I've got quite a good view there. There's vehicles in the distance coming, but I'll get on before them. I'm just going to go second gear and on I go. So I'm going to the roundabout, and as I come round, I'm staying with the roundabout as I go round. Now when I come to leave, I want to leave in the left lane if I can, okay? So when I get round to here, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror. There's no one on the left, so I'm going to move across to the left into this left lane. If somebody had broken the rules and there was somebody on my left there, of course I would leave in the right lane. But your default position for any of these two-lane roads is driving in the left. If you drive in the right for no reason, well, you're basically driving one lane out from where you're supposed to be, and that can turn into, you can get into quite a lot of like problems can happen. The crossing looks good, no one's at it. The problems can be that people can start to get up your left, and they shouldn't, but yeah, if people start to undertake you, you're going to get a bit stuck. We're going to go left for Lanark at this roundabout, left first exit. So I'm doing interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. As it opens up, I'm going into this left lane, and I'm braking. I can't really see with this van and the hedge and stuff, so I'm going to slow down and go into first like a junction and just see what's going on. There's a lorry coming around, so I'm just going to wait for that. Potentially after the lorry it's okay. I'm going to have a look. It all looks okay now, so off I go, and I'm just staying to the left as I go. Now this road's still 40 as you go down here. There should be more signs on it. Basically there's not been any signs saying it's anything different, and I'm looking down here. There is one small 40 on the lamppost down here on the left, which you might see down there. So yeah, I can see that it's 40. But this road is not marked up as well as it should be. So again, it'd be another one that if you say you didn't see that it was a 40 and you didn't, you didn't see that sign, I don't see it being a problem if you did 30 along here, because you can't really say that it's marked up sort of properly and you've sort of missed signs. Just continuing straight on up here, you'd expect the left lane to go ahead of the traffic lights, which it does. It's just turned to green. It might go back to red, so I'm going to check my interior mirror, and I'm just going to ease off the power as I come up, just sort of in case it changes. It's staying green, so I'm just going to continue through, and I'm continuing straight on up here. Now we've got some sort of road markings here that are like traffic calming things as we come up sort of Wester Hills here. It's a bit faded, but it moves out to the right, so you're going to check interior mirror, right door mirror, and you're going to move out with this hatch here, and then after it, make sure you get back. So I'm going to check mirror, mirror, and move back to the left here. Another mistake people make there is they move out okay, but then they stay in the right for absolutely no reason, and it'd be the same as like I was saying earlier. They end up driving in the right for no reason, which wouldn't be quite right. So as I drive up here, just continue on, I've got the 40s repeating. The guy in front's not quite doing 40, so I'm just sitting behind them and just making sure I don't get too close to them. And then, yeah, it's beginning to start to rain. Hopefully this doesn't get on the camera too much, because yeah, we're almost back, so I'm going to sort of keep it going, but hopefully this doesn't start to wreck the camera on the front, like the view of it for you. Up here at the roundabout, we're going to continue straight on, following the road ahead, second exit. So as we approach, we're going to check my interior mirror, I'm going to come off the power, I'm going to start to brake. Lowering the speed so I can figure out what's happening. It actually looks, it doesn't look okay, so I'm going to go down into first gear and I'm going to give way. And then after this guy, it looks good, so I'm going to get my accelerator to go in, left in the clutch, and I'm going to stay on the outside of the roundabout, stay to the left as I go. Big acceleration first to second, and as I come to leave, I'm going to say mirror, mirror signal. Now it's a 40 this road. Inside the bus there I can see the stopping light downstairs. It's going to stop at the next bus stop, but looking up the road, the bus stop isn't in sight at the moment, so it's not stopping anytime soon. But if the bus stop was just there, I know it's going to stop. As I get further up this road, I'm going to be turning right at the top at the traffic lights. So I can't signal quite yet because it's still quite far away, but as things widen up here, I'm going to start to get a right position. So I'm going to check interior mirror, right door mirror, and I'm going to stay out to the right. The bus is going to be pulling in there as well, so I don't want to get stuck behind it. You'll see if it's still on as I get up, if this guy goes past it. It might go off because it might be open, but inside the bus there, you see the stopping light just downstairs in it. It's just gone off, but yeah. Now we're going to be turning right at the traffic lights. So we're going to interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. And then I'm just coming up slowly here, and I'm going to be stopping just before I get to the cycle box. So I'm stopping just here. Now when this goes green, because I'm turning right and I only get a green circle, like a green light, I would have to give way to oncoming vehicles. So in this case, there's one car on the other side. So when it goes green, I'll be pulling out into the middle. If it's just that one car, once it's gone, I'll be able to turn. If more cars arrive, I'll have to give way to them, so that I'm not, because I'm crossing their path. So we've got a car and the van. So I'm going to move out to the middle here gently. And if I just go slow enough after this white van, if nothing else arrives, looks okay now, I'm going to make the move. If more stuff arrived, of course I'd have to wait there just until it became clear. So as we drive along here, it's 30, so I'm just going along at 30. Now, on that route that we've done, there's not been that many places that the examiner can pull you up on the left, okay? And they're going to want to pull you up quite a few times on the left during the test. So what you might find now is, because we're on our way back to the test centre and we're now on roads that are more suitable to pull up, you might suddenly get a concentrated spell of them pulling you up at the side. So yeah, it's not that you've done anything wrong, crossing looks good, it's just that they're going to have to try and get that done before you sort of finish. So if you can imagine, they can't pull you up at the beginning on sort of the country road, like it's not going to be very safe to pull you up sort of around one of those corners or anything. They can't pull you up on the bypass, they can't pull you up like on that big road with the roundabouts and stuff. Now I'm just sort of stopping here. So with the temporary traffic lights here, this is a bit more of an entrance here rather than just being a driveway into this like nursing home or whatever it is. So I've chosen to wait just before that, so that while we wait here, if cars arrive to come out of here and turn to the right, I'm not blocking them. Or if traffic that's coming along towards us wants to turn in, I'm not blocking that either. It can be difficult with temporary traffic lights sometimes because they'll set them up, but it's they maybe don't always think through exactly like where you're going to be waiting with the sort of the other surroundings. So just taking your time, being careful of that. I've got a video on that on my channel as well, trying to go through the sort of things that catch people out. I really hope this rain's not sort of landing on the camera, and I've got a feeling it probably will be because we're sitting still at the traffic lights here. So hopefully you can see enough and we can make it back to the end. But yeah, basically all I've got left to do is pull up a few times, and we'll do an angled start as well to show you that, and then that's us, and hopefully this is helpful. Yeah, it seems to be traffic lights everywhere at the moment. And yeah, this could happen. So during your driving test, it should take around about 40 minutes, but they've got 57 minutes to do it. So yeah, it wouldn't be a worry if you did end up coming through sort of temporary traffic lights and having to sit for a moment or two. They've got enough time. Some people sometimes think that if you did your test at a busier time, you won't go as far. They'll still follow the sort of route that they had in mind. It'll just take them a bit longer to do it. So it's almost a myth that people say if you sort of book it at rush hour, you won't go as far. You'll still do the same route. It'll just take you just a wee bit longer to complete it. So currently with the coronavirus and stuff, the waiting lists are just, everything's a bit out of control. So if you are starting to do the driving at the moment, trying to find a theory test would be good. Like, sort of get on that as soon as you can, because people are struggling to find them. And then if you're lucky enough to get that, then hopefully you could that frees you up to start to think about booking a driving test. Of course, you might not be ready for it quite yet, but it might be worth having a look at what the waiting lists are like, because the waiting list at the moment, currently, is about 4 months. So it's gone green. We're going to have to wait till this guy gets out of my way. So he's coming through. So after that, I'm going to be quite efficient if he comes through. I hope this doesn't go red. So there's a cyclist coming up my left, so I'm going to be watching them. They're going through the cones, and then off I go. So so this cyclist is probably going to come out further up here, because the space inside the cones there comes to an end with these wee fences. So I'm aware of that, and that would be a great example of why you're checking the mirrors before you pull away, because things like the cyclist arrived just at the point that was all beginning to move. I did see them and stuff, but yeah, it's good to definitely sort of so that you know that they're around. So up here looks like it's going to sort of go a wee tight weave through the cones here, so I'm just going to check mirror, just checking I'm sort of clearing the sort of cones and stuff there, and something like the cyclist hasn't sort of gone back in between the cones and then in an area near me that's going to cause me problems. Continuing up here, I've got a pedestrian crossing ahead. It could change, so I'm sort of anticipating that might change, but it looks okay on the right. I'll see the left shortly behind this van, and it looks okay. There's no one there, so it's not going to change. So I'm just driving up here, looking for anything big that might sort of arrive around the corner here, which I could meet, but it's looking okay. And it looks alright through this section as well. Normally there, depends what's parked up, you'll normally fit through with sort of cars, but if it was something bigger, like a big lorry, bus, you may have to give way. Of course, it's going to be different each time. Up here, we're going to be turning right into this housing estate. So I'm going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. I'm going to stay with this line as I come up. There's a keep clear here, which, because I'm turning right, I am able to stop on just while I'm giving way. All looks good after this guy, so off I go. But if I had to give way to another person, it is okay for me to stop and sit on that just for a moment while I'm waiting. Back into a speed bumped area, so it's a 20 miles an hour zone. I'm just taking my time. There's a van coming through here, so I'm just going to sort of time it that they're past. And then as I come down here, I'm just going to check interior mirror, right door mirror as I move out. Okay, so you're going to have this concentrated thing of stopping now, I think, because they've not had a chance to do it. So we're going to stop on the left. You're going to do mirror signal. I'm just going to bring myself over. I'm going to get myself over beside this driveway, bring myself in, driving along, neat with this curb here. And then just before I stop, I'm going to confirm in my left door mirror that all looks good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go handbrake on, engine neutral, cancel signal. Drive on when you're ready. So, clutch down to first. I'm going to check my interior mirror, right door mirror, quick check round over my right shoulder. I'm happy. There's a van in the background, but it's quite far away. I'm going to do a wee signal to show them that I'm pulling away, and off I go. If it was nearer and I didn't have any intention of going before it got here, then of course I wouldn't signal, I would just sit still. As we drive along here, I'd like you to turn left into the road coming up. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. And then I'm just going to follow the curb as I go around, staying nice and neat as I enter this road. So coming round with the curb, looking along, all looks good. Now we're going to see if we can do an angled start, so maybe get you to do this while you're out and about, so get you to stop before you get to a car, leaving yourself enough room. So here's an example. We're going to do it with this car here. So we're going to stop just before you get to this car, not worrying about the driveway. So mirrors and signal, and they'll say stop about a car length away from it. So you would come in slowly, just go very slowly. They'll tell you to stop somewhere there, and then you just stop there. They're going to say, right, drive on when you're ready. What they're looking at here is, can you drive on with this obstacle ahead of you? So you're showing the control that you can sort of coordinate the checks and stuff, and you can go slow enough with the steering as you go around this car. So let's do it. So into first. Looking down the road, there's a learner car. I think it's just stopped there. It's sitting there, so I'm going to check mirror, right shoulder. All looks good, so I'm going to do a wee signal, and then I'm just going to go slowly. So I'm just bringing the clutch up just enough to get movement, but not right up, just as I go round it. And then once I'm round it and got my steering sorted, I'm going to lift the clutch the rest of the way, just so I don't fly forwards. So I'm continuing down here, and yeah, looking down, sort of all looks good on this road. Just going to be checking mirrors as I go out for these cars. So mirror, mirror, and out to go. And yeah, I think we still need to get another like sort of stop or two in, so I'm going to turn left at the end to find someone else to stop. So I'm going to check mirror, mirror, and I'm going to come around to this curb. Now really take my time here. I've got a good view here, but with the van and stuff, it's going to mean that stuff that's coming that way is going to be on the wrong side of the road or the other side of the road. So I'm checking that nothing's coming through, because that's going to mean that the people coming that way are going to properly be out. So I'd have to really make sure that no one's like back here committing out early, because yeah, they would then be coming towards me. So this guy's coming out. I'm going to check my mirror, and I can time it, I think. Probably just going to go down into first gear here, and because it's a slight hill, I'm just going to get my biting point, so accelerator on the biting point before it rolls backwards, and then just hold it, and once they're through, checking the mirrors as I move out, and away I go. Going to turn right into this road coming up. As I clear this, I'm going to check mirrors as I come back, and then because I'm turning right, mirror, mirror, signal. That then means that I'm over here, I've got a good line to turn in. I'm waiting to the centre of that road, lines up with my knee, and then I'm steering in now. Looking along this road, there's a guy just opening their door, but I should be able to go past them okay. But of course, if I thought that I couldn't, then I might have to wait there if there was lots going on. As I drive along here, find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop. That bit there looks good, so mirror, mirror, signal. Bring myself in at the driveway here, and then putting the signal back on because it's cancelled. Bring myself along, bring the front corner along beside the curb there. Quickly glance in that left mirror just before I finish. All looks good. Stop in there. That's me. Okay, drive on when you're ready. You'll be sick of this now because you've done quite a few, but hopefully you're getting it right. Check around, looks good ahead. In the mirrors, it looks good. Well, there's a guy just leaving actually, so yeah, I'm just going to just wait a moment. I'm not going to signal because I have no intention of going in front of them, so I'm not going to sit with my signal on because that could get confusing. They could also suddenly stop to let me go, and it could all turn into a bit of a mess. Looks okay after them, so quick glance over my right shoulder. Nothing's coming at these driveways or anything. I'm going to do a wee signal and off I go. And that's it. So yeah, we're heading back, and yeah, if you've managed all that, then you should be on track for passing, no problem at all. So yeah, hopefully that's all making sense. It'd be brilliant if you've enjoyed it. Let me know, like in the comments below, if you've got any questions about any of the sections that we've done. And yeah, like you can let me know if you've used the videos and stuff like for your test, if you found them helpful. It'd be brilliant if you commented, because it's always good to hear about the people who have found them helpful, because keeps me motivated to keep making them. Like yeah, it's strange just talking to my wee camera and not knowing how many people are actually enjoying it or not. So at the bottom down here, we're going to be turning it to the left. So as I come down, I'm going to the interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Before the curb curves there, I'm doing my light braking, clutch down into first. I'm going to follow around with the shape of the curb, just using my brake, rolling up, looking both ways as I arrive. It all looks good, so off I go. And yeah, if you recognise the area, we're literally just around the corner from the test centre. So I'm coming round here, and then sometimes round the corner here there's parked cars which we may have to give way. We'll have to see, so there's a few here, so yeah, just checking before I go past them it's okay. So I'm going slowly, looks good through there, so I'm checking as I go out. Going to turn right, so I'm doing mirrors and signal. Because these cars are opposite the junction, I'm going to slow down and go into first, so I'm not going as fast. And it would be acceptable for you to cut the corners slightly when you can see, because they've got you on the sort of other side of the road. Just going to time it, this guy gets through, and once they're through I'm going in, and then I'm going to turn right into the car park here. So as I approach, I'm going to the interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right, looking to see if anyone's driving through from this area here. All looks okay, so I'm going to turn myself into the car park here, and then yeah, they'll just bring you in. I'm just going to say like go forwards towards the fence there. So we're coming in nice and slow. That's you've finished, and then yeah, you sort of stop here, and then I tell you to go handbrake, neutral, and then switch the car off, so that's the car off, and then the examiner will go through it with you. So best of luck, hopefully that all makes sense. I'm sure if you can get into it and sort of follow sort of what I've been saying there, then it should be that you find it no problem at all. So yeah, good luck with it all, and yeah, hopefully all goes well. Let me know in the comments. Thanks.